Expedition Bigfoot just got shut down by the CIA.
Holy, look at that. That is a footprint.
Holy crap.
There are no known primates here. There's something really out there.
Something really up.
This followed a recent horrifying discovery that shook the government so much that they had no option but to shut down the expedition.
I found on that sandbar are footprints 18 inches long. What else would make a footprint like that? I've not seen humans for days. It's out of place. Does not belong here in this space.
What is this terrifying discovery, and why did it lead to the shutdown? The team, made up of experienced pros, was totally shaken when they came across some pretty compelling evidence that could finally prove Bigfoot's existence. Ronnie, Maria, and Russell would come across a finding so startling that they would consider abandoning their mission. After days of silence, their high-tech gear suddenly started picking up something ominous, flipping the crew's excitement into dread and forcing them to call it quits on their mission. At the start of the expedition, things were already tense as they began to feel like they weren't alone out there. They had already found some creepy sights, like scattered bones and bits of animal flesh, suggesting that something violent had gone down nearby. This disturbing discovery only amped up their fear and fueled their drive to keep exploring for answers. As they ventured deeper into the dark, dense forest, that sense of unease only grew. But even with all that tension, they pressed on, convinced they were on the verge of a major breakthrough. It wasn't long before they stumbled upon an incredible piece of evidence, a huge non-human handprint in the mud. This handprint was unlike anything they had ever seen and was taken as solid proof that the creature might actually exist. Finding this handprint was a game changer, making them realize they could be dealing with a powerful and potentially dangerous creature. But that wasn't all. While the handprint alone was shocking, the team quickly realized they might be facing more than just one creature. They discovered two different sets of tracks, hinting at the presence of multiple Bigfoot-like beings in the area. The tracks had a mix of human and ape characteristics, which lined up with findings from a previous expedition where they'd found a Bigfoot skull that showed similarities to both humans and apes. This realization only ramped up their determination, knowing they were in the midst of several creatures. With the knowledge that they could be surrounded by multiple creatures, the team took even more precautions. The tracks and handprint weren't just minor clues. They were solid evidence that something powerful, intelligent, and possibly dangerous was out there with them. To enhance their search efforts, the team deployed drones equipped with heat-sensing cameras. These drones gave them a bird's-eye view of the area, scanning for any signs of movement or heat that could signal a creature nearby. On the ground, the team carefully analyzed the tracks, taking measurements and gathering data, even with the challenging terrain. As the operation continued, the suspense grew. The drone soon picked up a vaguely human-shaped figure moving quickly through the trees, sparking excitement among the crew. But the excitement was short-lived. The figure vanished before they could get any solid evidence.
Oh, there it is. Oh, yep.
Lady, that thing is back.
Still, the team pressed on, determined to find the truth. The multiple tracks and the drone's brief sighting suggested the creatures might be using the nearby river as a travel route. So, they shifted their focus to the riverbank, hoping to catch a glimpse of the creatures moving through the valley. As night fell, the tension in the air grew thicker. Ronnie, one of the team members, was making his way through the dense forest, his progress hampered by the darkness. Suddenly, the drone's thermal camera picked up heat signatures near his location, indicating something was close by. But the images were blurry, making it tough to figure out exactly what was out there. As the drone zoomed in for a closer look, the trail suddenly disappeared, leaving Ronnie feeling both curious and a bit on edge. Even with that growing sense of dread, he pushed forward. His efforts quickly led him to discover some huge footprints, each one indicating that a massive creature had passed through the area. The size and spacing of the footprints suggested that this creature had a really long stride, confirming just how big and strong it was. Ronnie wasn't alone for long. Bryce, the drone operator, soon caught up with him, eager to help out with the investigation. Together, they continued to search the area, using thermal cameras to scan their surroundings in hopes of spotting the creature. However, the dense trees were a major obstacle, blocking their view and making it tough to track any movement. As they delved deeper into the forest, they stumbled upon a chilling sight: the remains of a freshly killed animal, its blood soaking into the snow around it. The sight of the mutilated body was enough to rattle even the most seasoned trackers. It quickly became clear to the team that they weren't dealing with a typical predator. The bones were snapped, showing just how much strength it took to inflict that kind of damage. This observation sparked a discussion among the team about the creature's possible behaviors, with some speculating that it might have broken the bones to get to the marrow, a behavior often seen in early humans. This realization was pretty significant, suggesting that the creature they were tracking might be showing behaviors similar to those of our ancient ancestors. The discovery of volcanic glass tools in the area added weight to the theory that these creatures might be more intelligent than anyone had previously thought. The team realized they weren't just tracking an elusive animal anymore. They could be on the trail of a creature with human-like intelligence. As the night dragged on, the team's determination to make contact with the creature intensified. Mireya and Russell, two other team members, had been tracking it all night, even as the conditions became increasingly challenging. They noticed quick movements along an icy ridge, but hadn't made any major breakthroughs yet. Strangely, the soft snow, which should have shown footprints, remained completely undisturbed, adding to their frustration. Then their cameraman spotted a fleeting movement and caught a brief glimpse of a humanoid figure before it vanished again. This quick sighting was a huge lead, pushing Mireya and Russell to dive deeper into the icy wilderness. They were navigating harsh, inhospitable terrain that was perfect for a creature trying to avoid human contact. While they pressed on, Ronnie and Bryce stayed behind to further investigate the area around the fresh kill. They soon found an unusually high claw mark on a tree, clearly indicating that something large and powerful had recently been in the area. This mark was unlike anything they had seen before and stood out significantly from the parallel lines typically left by bears. Meanwhile, Mireya and Russell's efforts paid off when they discovered a cave hidden in the icy landscape. Located near a flowing river, this cave provided an ideal shelter for the creature, offering both a water source and a secluded hiding spot. The team believed they were on the verge of a major discovery and eagerly began searching the cave for any signs of Bigfoot. However, the massive size of the surrounding mountainous area made it nearly impossible to cover on foot. Realizing that time was running out and with darkness approaching, the team was worried. They were dealing with a landscape 3 times the size of Texas, and they knew they wouldn't be able to find anything in that vast space. With no choice but to get to it first, they concluded that their chances of catching something on foot were slim to none. So, they decided to call in a helicopter to assist in their search. The helicopter provided an aerial view of the expansive landscape, allowing them to scan for any signs of movement from above. Despite their best efforts, the creature remained elusive, slipping into the dense forest before they could capture any solid evidence. 3 weeks after the expedition wrapped up, while the rest of the team had moved on, Bryce stayed behind to sift through the data they had collected. During this time, he stumbled upon something shocking. The highly sensitive microphone set up in the forest had picked up some strange sounds during the night. At first, Bryce brushed off the noises as just typical forest sounds, but upon closer inspection, he discovered something extraordinary: a deep, indistinct voice. This voice, captured during the night while the team was deep in the woods, sounded unlike anything they had heard before. It seemed to be an actual audio recording of Bigfoot. Bryce immediately enhanced the recording for further analysis and realized that it might be the first ever audio evidence of this elusive creature. The implications were huge, especially when considering the potential for linguistic analysis and what it could mean if the government got involved. Eager to confirm his findings, Bryce reached out to Dr. Ronald Cosper, a linguist known for his skills in deciphering rare and complex languages. Dr. Cosper had previously worked on translating phrases linked to Bigfoot, making him the perfect person to analyze the recording. After carefully reviewing the audio, Dr. Cosper concluded that the voices sounded human, or pretty close to it, but had some distinct features that hinted they belonged to a different species. He identified specific words in the recording, like wave, flat, and cumber, suggesting these might be part of the creature's communication system. He also pointed out that the recording seemed to include 2 different voices, which supported the idea that multiple creatures were hanging around during the expedition. When asked if he thought they were tracking 1 or 2 individuals, Dr. Cosper confirmed, "Yes. I really thought the last part was said by a different individual than the first." Bryce was shocked and asked if the voice saying something like "way flat" sounded different from the one that said "cumber." Dr. Cosper's analysis validated Bryce's concern that there might be more than one creature involved in the whole situation. However, as Bryce continued to investigate the recordings and share his findings with Dr. Cosper, the U.S. government unexpectedly intervened. This sudden involvement led to the abrupt shutdown of the entire expedition, raising suspicions that they had uncovered something too significant for the public to know. Whether the government's actions were intended to protect the public or to keep the discovery under wraps remains unclear. The complexities of the expedition's findings went beyond physical evidence like handprints and scattered bones. The discovery of volcanic glass tools and the realization that the creature might possess early human-like intelligence were particularly fascinating. These findings blurred the line between human ancestors and mythical creatures in evolutionary terms. The tools indicated that Bigfoot could potentially share a lineage with early hominids, suggesting an intersection of development between primitive human species and an unknown species. The discovery of these tools, along with the knuckle and handprints, pointed toward a creature with a highly sophisticated survival strategy. Volcanic glass tools are not created without a level of intelligence. Historically, early humans used such materials for crafting sharp implements essential for hunting, survival, and food processing. If Bigfoot is capable of similar behaviors, it raises profound questions about the creature's cognitive abilities and its potential role in the evolutionary chain. This led the team to hypothesize that the Bigfoot species could be more than just a primitive animal roaming the wilderness. Rather, it might represent an undiscovered branch of evolution, one that diverged from the path of modern humans but developed in parallel. The presence of tools and the evidence of bone breaking to extract marrow suggested a level of problem-solving and adaptation that challenged existing notions of what constitutes intelligence in the animal kingdom. Much like early human tribes, the ecological implications of Bigfoot's existence were profound. The environmental conditions of the area played a crucial role in shaping the behaviors and survival mechanisms of the creatures the team was tracking. The dense forests, rough terrain, and vast mountainous regions created the perfect habitat for a species like Bigfoot to remain hidden from human discovery for centuries. The secluded valleys and the river running through the area provided not only shelter, but also a food source, allowing the creatures to thrive without needing to venture into more populated areas. Bigfoot's apparent ability to use the river as a travel route, combined with its reliance on the valley for sustenance, demonstrated a deep understanding of its environment. The team's theory that Bigfoot might be using the river to navigate between different parts of the wilderness was significant. It indicated an adaptive use of the landscape that was essential for survival in a world increasingly encroached upon by humans. The region's thick forests and valleys made it nearly impossible for a species like Bigfoot to be discovered through traditional tracking methods. The use of drones equipped with heat-sensing technology and thermal cameras was a necessary adaptation on the part of the expedition team. However, even with these advanced tools, the creatures remained elusive, suggesting an exceptional ability to evade detection. The fact that the team, despite their best efforts, could not conclusively capture Bigfoot's image or physical evidence raised questions about the creature's intelligence and behavioral patterns. It hinted at a possible evolutionary advantage, where the ability to remain hidden and avoid human contact was not merely a matter of luck, but rather a finely honed instinct developed over generations. This raises intriguing possibilities about the creature's interactions with its environment and its strategies for survival, suggesting a complex and intelligent being capable of outsmarting its human counterparts. If these creatures are indeed as intelligent as the tools and handprints suggest, they may possess a higher level of awareness regarding human activity. This could explain why they have remained hidden for so long, avoiding interaction with humans whenever possible. As the expedition progressed, it became evident that technology played a critical role in the search for Bigfoot. From the use of drones to track movements to highly sensitive microphones capturing audio evidence, modern technology offered valuable tools for investigation. However, the limitations of this technology were also apparent. For example, while drones could detect heat signatures and capture thermal images, these images were often blurry or inconclusive. The dense forest canopy and uneven terrain made it challenging for drones to provide a clear view of the ground, and the creatures seemed to disappear from view just as the drones closed in on them. This raises questions about the effectiveness of current technology in tracking elusive creatures like Bigfoot. While advancements in thermal imaging and aerial surveillance have improved researchers' ability to cover large areas of wilderness, these tools are not foolproof. The natural environment can still obscure important details, and the creatures themselves may have evolved behaviors that help them evade detection. Furthermore, the expedition's reliance on ground teams to supplement the aerial footage underscores the need for a multifaceted approach when exploring remote areas. Combining technology with traditional tracking methods, expert knowledge of the terrain, and a keen understanding of animal behavior could enhance the chances of uncovering evidence of these elusive creatures. As the search for Bigfoot continues, it becomes increasingly clear that a holistic strategy, blending innovation with experience, may be the key to solving one of nature's most enduring mysteries. The drones provided a bird's-eye view of the terrain, but it was the ground teams who discovered the physical evidence such as footprints, claw marks, and remains of prey. This combination of technology and human observation is likely the best method for tracking such elusive creatures. In addition to the drones and cameras, the team used handheld thermal cameras to scan the area around them. These devices help detect heat signatures in areas where the drones could not reach, such as beneath the thick canopy of trees or along the riverbank. Although the thermal cameras picked up images of the creatures, these were often fleeting glimpses that did not provide enough detail to confirm their identity. The dense forest obstructed the camera's view, adding to the difficulty of tracking the creatures. One of the most intriguing aspects of the expedition was the involvement of the U.S. government. The sudden shutdown of the expedition following the discovery of audio evidence raised questions about why the government would intervene in a reality TV show's investigation. While the crew's findings were significant, the abrupt end to the mission suggested that the government may have had a vested interest in keeping the results under wraps. This led to speculation that the government might possess more information about Bigfoot than the public is aware of. If the creature does indeed exist, it could represent a previously unknown species with potentially profound implications for science and conservation efforts. The discovery of such a species would likely attract widespread attention and raise questions about how best to protect it. The government may have stepped in to prevent widespread panic or to safeguard the creatures from potential exploitation. The audio recordings in particular seem to draw the most interest from the government. Captured by highly sensitive microphones, these recordings provided evidence of vocal communication between two creatures. The deep, indistinct voices, upon further analysis, appeared to belong to creatures capable of speech, or at least some form of vocal expression. The ethical implications of continuing the search weighed heavily on the team as they considered the impact of their actions on the environment and the creatures they were trying to understand. Moreover, the discovery of early human-like behaviors, such as tool use and bone breaking, indicates that these creatures may possess a level of intelligence that warrants respect and protection. The ethical considerations of disturbing a potentially sentient species are significant, especially given the fragile ecosystems in which they live. By entering their territory and pursuing them, the team may have been disturbing that delicate balance. The government's involvement in the expedition could also be seen as an effort to protect the creatures from human interference. If Bigfoot is indeed an undiscovered species, revealing its existence could lead to widespread interest and attempts to capture or study the creatures. This could have disastrous consequences for their survival, as human activity could destroy their habitat or lead to the creatures being hunted or captured for research purposes. President Joe Biden has done something very shocking. The president made a confusing move recently when he decided to shut down Expedition Bigfoot's hunt for the elusive creature. This unusual move has now put a stop to a very well-organized and well-equipped team which consists of doctors and experts who are on the hunt for this legendary cryptid. Why such a powerful man like the President of the United States would concern himself with a television series dedicated to demystifying and proving the existence of one of North America's oldest legends is a mystery to fans.
All the evidence that we have to date suggests that Sasquatch is omnivorous.
However, there are many conspiracies and theories that claim President Biden did this for a very sinister purpose. Follow along closely to get to the bottom of the unexpected and suspicious move from the president. Many men and women have been walking through the woods with their eyes peeled, hoping to spot Bigfoot. But few were as prepared and serious as the crew of Expedition Bigfoot. This team hauled tons of sound recorders, tracking devices, high-end cameras, and more into the woods in the hope of capturing undeniable footage of Bigfoot. The wide array of equipment was deemed necessary as they realized that many of the past pieces of evidence, like shaky photographs, have been dismissed as evidence because of their lack of clarity. That is why they decided not to rely on a single piece of equipment and brought other gadgets that can make up for the heightened senses that they lack. Perhaps they would not be able to get a clear shot of anything in the darkness of the thick woods, but maybe they could capture the sound or movement of their mysterious quarry. But before they chose what equipment to take with them, they had to choose the right hunting grounds to locate and uncover the Bigfoot once and for all. Typically, scouting a location for filming a movie or television show is meant to be something beautiful or relevant to the storyline, but choosing the location for this expedition was a little different. They weren't out in the woods looking for a good shot. They wanted to trace out areas where Bigfoot has been spotted most often and take a look around themselves. What kind of home would Bigfoot choose for himself is the question they were asking. Unfortunately for the team, the location they landed on had tensions running high, as the wood was vast and silent, eerie and spooky, when no one could tell what every little sound could mean. Could they have been stalked and hunted in the darkness without knowing it? The feelings of fear and dread may have been thrilling for audiences, but the team was suffering as they fought to stay calm and focused on their mission. The darkness made it hard to maneuver and spot any creatures of legend.
The video shows some sort of unidentified creature roaming around the base of the nest. It looks like the beast is foraging back and forth beneath the trees.
So they realized that their noise recorders and night vision equipment would be crucial for their success. They had flashlights with them, but the thick canopies of the trees blocked out any moonlight that could help them find their footing, making their vision extremely poor. Much of their decision-making relied on trusting their instincts and their other senses like smell and sound. What they sensed in the woods could be the reason for President Biden's abrupt decision to stop their quest. With the help of some of the most advanced animal tracking equipment in the world, they were able to catch strange noises, making this a huge moment in their expedition and filling them with the excitement of a newfound clue. This equipment is powerful enough to see and record movements and sounds that are too subtle for the human senses to notice. A very necessary addition to all their gadgets, since after all these centuries, no one has ever been able to match Bigfoot when it comes to hide and seek. This sudden spike of action caused a wave of anticipation over everyone, as they had previously only experienced the tranquil, silent wood, waiting for something to happen. But now, it was here. Could it be Bigfoot just beyond their line of sight? The tension was out of this world, as every rustle would create images of Bigfoot suddenly springing up from behind a bush, and every breeze became Bigfoot sprinting away, never to be seen by human eyes again. The team and the audience experienced a wave of emotion together, everything from fear to joy at their success. Every sound was documented, and the build-up to the unknown was excruciating and emotionally draining. However, it was also very uplifting, giving the team hope that their hard work and dedication would pay off if they were tenacious enough to see it through to the end. The deeper the team went into the woods, the more terrifying it became for the group. They came across something truly chilling.
More than 3 million people have watched this video trying to figure out what the creature lurking on the ground is and why he is looking up towards the hatchlings.
Blood, bones, and entrails that seem to come from a large dead creature. This development in their quest to find Bigfoot sent a shiver down many spines. The realization that this expedition could lead to a confrontation with a potentially aggressive and dangerous creature, whose nature and disposition is completely unknown, hit the entire team like a train. Of course, these remains could also point to other forest animals like bears or wolves roaming the grounds, a very present and real danger that in their excitement to hunt the elusive Bigfoot slipped their mind. However, they determined that the dead prey was too big to fall to any of these predators, suggesting that perhaps the rumored 7-foot-tall muscular Bigfoot was to blame. The team's attention and energy now had to shift to something less excited, to a more focused and defensive mood. While they got their nerves under control, they had to make sure to keep their equipment close and ready to catch any important clues. This encounter with death in the woods was a sobering experience for all of them, as their anticipation turned instead to a grim resolve to see this to the end. However, some silver linings were found in this disturbing experience. For example, they realized that they have come across something real. This could be the solid evidence they needed that indicates that Bigfoot was in the area not long ago. The condition and quality of the remains seemed to point toward a very large and powerful predator, as this was not the work of a stray cat or dog who went hunting in the woods for some squirrels. Following the traces of Bigfoot, the team decides to press onward, unknowing that something even stranger was awaiting them: strange prints on the trees. The team's mood in general had been brought down, feeling more cautious when they encountered very large and oddly misshapen handprints on some nearby trees.
Now, they're certainly up there for a reason, and most likely that's food. Human ancestors exploited eggs and nests for food.
The fact that these markings were not just large, but also shaped in a way that did not match any of the local animals. In fact, the prints did not match any documented species that they knew about. This reinforced their suspicions that their living legend existed and could be hunting and living nearby. These handprints gave the team some crucial hints as to the size and strength of the creature they are hunting. Even the way the prints are left behind, the angle and height could suggest the way the creature behaves and moves around. This type of evidence is especially juicy to cryptozoologists, as finding physical evidence is startlingly rare in that field of study and is often dismissed by skeptics. Now, with this documented evidence, it could be easily compared to any other findings and reports about Bigfoot. While this was a victory for the investigators and Bigfoot enthusiasts, it also managed to at once dampen and electrify the mood atmosphere. The team was being confronted yet again with the possibility that they could lose their lives chasing after a creature that does not want to be found. This dangerous venture had become a mental battleground for the team, as they fought their fears to keep going where no one has gone before. However, it was clear that the psychological battle was only getting tougher, as the small noises and sounds of a forest became a terrifying wilderness ready to swallow them whole. While the whole purpose of Expedition Bigfoot is to gather information that could lead to this legend's discovery, their success has instead put doubt into their minds. Now they had to decide whether finding Bigfoot was worth endangering their lives. These doubts would soon melt away when their ambitions and adrenaline begin to take over. The expedition. Bigfoot team are not ordinary people. They thrive in environments that mix risk with great reward and relish the chance to uncover the mysteries of the world. They came all this way.
Oh my word.
Oh!
That
It
is.
doesn't look like a person.
It does not look like a
It doesn't
person.
look like...
Carrying thousands of dollars worth of equipment for this search, and they would not allow anything to stop them from continuing. They are confident that their expertise and high-tech gadgets will see them succeed where so many have failed in the past. The use of drones that have thermal imaging capabilities made their search much more efficient. The drones allowed the team to maneuver through the huge, thick forest. The thermal cameras were able to spot all kinds of heat signatures of varying intensity and size, allowing them to pierce through the protections the vegetation gave the animals hidden away. Even Bigfoot would not be able to conceal themselves and disappear into the trees with this bird's-eye view of hot-blooded animals. All of their patience and careful surveillance paid off when the thermal camera found the heat signature of a very fast, human-shaped being. This shocking moment was like something out of a dream. They were finally getting visual proof of what could be Bigfoot. This kind of thermal footage is another very compelling piece of evidence to add to the stack they have been collecting as they swept through their search area. After some careful analysis, it became obvious that the heat signature they captured was quite unique and differed from the other local wildlife. The figure was very striking as it walked on two legs, matching the many descriptions given by past Bigfoot reports. Drone spot Bigfoot. This finding invigorated the team. They now made plans for an even greater collaboration with the drone operators to coordinate a more efficient search. They wanted to keep track of this mysterious figure while staying safe. The team having such sophisticated and strategic aerial support made a great deal of difference when it came to their comfort levels. They noticed this quick-moving heat signature was making their way to a glacier. This could point toward the mystery creature preferring cooler climates. The glaciers and the surrounding area were quite robust and could easily support a creature as large as the Bigfoot. This insight told the team that cool, isolated areas are these mystery creatures' preferred haunts. This whole adventure has not only gathered some pertinent evidence that can go to proving the existence
and 8 feet tall. They swear that what they saw on this day was the Marble Mountain Bigfoot.
of a creature of legend, but also demonstrates the power that can be found in blending classic techniques with modern technology. This new world could finally be ready to reveal the truth about Bigfoot and what exactly people have been spotting in the woods for all these years. Discovery of a Bigfoot skull. Another world-shaking discovery was made as the mission to find Bigfoot grew, and that was the discovery of what is believed to be a Bigfoot skull in a lonely area of the woods. This new piece of evidence showed what clearly looked like human and ape-like features set in this skull. This could help scientists figure out where Bigfoot would fall in the evolutionary timeline and change the way we look at human history. Found in such a remote location, the obscurity shows how the skull managed to remain undisturbed and preserved for so long. This find is much more significant than just a recording or blurry picture, as it is the remains of something that clearly once lived and existed in those woods. This skull will be able to undergo a lot of testing that can point to more information about its life. These details that can be gleaned from the skull are varied, from the kind of food it would eat, its evolutionary background, and even the rest of the creature's anatomical structure. Already, the skull exhibits a combination of traits that are shared by both humans and apes. Its structure seems to point to a level of complex brain power and possibly higher levels of thinking than other animals that share its habitat. This kind of mix of features are often used to describe Bigfoot's face by eyewitnesses and reports that have long been labeled urban legend. All of the subtle traits of an ape-like face and anatomy hints that this creature is much more durable than your average human, easily able to become king of the forests and survive in difficult terrain.
The video has not been heavily compressed to reduce or degrade the video. My personal opinion is that these events did transpire the way that they appear.
The combination of its assumed strength and elusive nature points to the Bigfoot being highly intelligent and adaptable. The careful analysis of this skull has led the team to think that the Bigfoot could be a mix of different species, or perhaps a point in evolution that we have left behind or maybe are headed toward. Further examinations and testing revealed to them how Bigfoot, or the previous owner of the skull, moved. There are many correlations to the skull and Bigfoot because of this, as they could guess that the skull was once a two-legged animal. This suggests that they could move more efficiently as they went about their life, able to use their hands for more tasks while they stood or walked. This would explain the ease it would have around its territory that is characterized by its dense wooded nature, with uneven terrain and many smaller plants crowding the ground. They are also able to determine the way Bigfoot would live on a daily basis, tracing certain structures and traits to hunting tactics, locations, and health. The reveal of Bigfoot's skull. Finding this skull was not only exciting and rewarding for the team, but deeply impactful. This has raised all kinds of questions, not only about the history of human evolution, but about the potential inherent in every creature to evolve into something unknown. The big theory that Bigfoot could have been a hybrid species of some kind has shaken many circles. This could change everything scientists think they know about the evolution of humans and apes. While this is very exciting, it also alarms many to think that there are similarly large and significant points in evolution that we as a society have been unable to record and trace. How many migrations and adaptations have we missed along the way? Could other legends hold clues to these questions? This has caused the scientific communities to wake up with new curiosity.
Holy mackerel! Look at that!
That's not a bear skull.
Actually, that is not a bear skull, you're right.
About what else is waiting to be discovered in long-forgotten corners of the world. This has everyone rethinking the relationships we have with some of our closest genetic relatives on this planet. As the team thinks over the ramifications of their discovery, they also have them thinking more deeply about what Bigfoot actually is. Once they have established that the legend they have been chasing is real, they begin to turn their minds to what more they can uncover. However, soon the reality hits them, and they have to reckon with finding more than they bargained for. It is at this point in their adventure that the Expedition Bigfoot team comes to a difficult decision. They decide to pull back from their search. Their formerly light and curious demeanors have changed once they found real proof they had been searching for. They no longer have any doubts they are on the right path, but could they be pushing their luck to continue? The risks have only become more real and terrifying after their discovery. They feel they have done enough in the present to be able to organize an even better expedition in the future. But as it stands, they decide that they are unwilling to continue as they have been. This break in their search will let them regroup and rethink their approach, resources, and safety measures. They have now graduated into thinking about capturing and studying Bigfoot in a safe and controlled environment. They know he is real and out there, but refuse to let their eagerness be their downfall. They want to do this research the right way, for the safety of themselves and of Bigfoot. At their heart, they are true animal lovers and scientists, letting wisdom and compassion lead the way as they carefully plan how they will be able to approach such a large and unknown species that prefers its solitude. They also wish to have the opportunity to observe how Bigfoot has managed to survive all this long, unseen and strong. The team has countless questions about Bigfoot, like how it interacts socially with other animals or animals of his kind, how he impacts the environment and ecological niche in those woods, and more. They are now leading many scientists and cryptozoologists in this new frontier of research, and they know all eyes will soon fall on them and how they decide to conduct themselves.
Seen here, so as the heel comes up in the supporting foot, the heel moves somewhat independently of the rest of the foot.
Their dedication to remaining ethical and wise in their approach is sure to serve them well. Thank you so much for watching and liking this video. Do you believe that Bigfoot exists and more of his kind is out there? Did the president purposefully hide this information from the public? If so, why? If you are interested in the mysteries of the world like Bigfoot, make sure that you subscribe and share with a friend. Don't forget to turn your notifications on so you never miss an update.